Oh, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle Edition. Merely Bo, the Great Z. Did you get that sorted out since? Nope.
I think so.
Now
Who
you're
knows?
there. Now
we
you're
go.
there.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
I will say this.
Yep, I got
That
it.
one, your microphone, because yesterday you were not here.
Yep.
I sat there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have one issue.
In terms of hearing it?
Yeah. Like, I know that one. I know when that one's on.
Yeah.
Immediately. This one,
Is it because you're test driving it because you're talking first in that scenario? Is it any chance that it's that?
No, I just know, like, I can. Like,
can
right now,
hear
I
it.
have it good, though. Right
Yeah.
now, that tap was good. But yesterday, like, that was.
You knew.
Couldn't be easier.
Yeah, you knew when
Yeah.
it was up. when it
This
was ready to
one,
go.
this one can be. It's fickle. This is a fickle bird over here.
It very much is. Very much is. How was the Florida? Did you have a good time in the Orlando?
It was a great weekend. Honestly, it was a great weekend overall. Had a great time down in Florida. Whirlwind,
Yeah, it's a quick trip.
Take a 6 a.m. flight. They had the kids bat mitzvah Saturday night, so that was a great time. And then
Duck kids.
the kids kid bat mitzvah.
Fantastic.
Liza. And so that was a lot of fun, and got to see like some of my obviously a lot of people that I'm friends with in town here, but then I love some of the kids' friends who are out of town, the Grizz, Seth, so they were all in. So it was just great to see a bunch of those people, and I had a great time. Ended up having maybe a little bit more of a party than I intended with a 6 a.m.
On a
flight
6 a.m.
looming.
wake up, coach.
But
You gotta
no,
be
6
careful.
a.m. wake up. We're
Oh
up
no,
at-
no, you're probably 4.
we were up at in the 4 o'clock hour there. And then got down to Orlando. The weather was perfect, 85 and sunny.
Yep.
Had the time of our lives. It was great. Great night.
And it's so warm here that you probably didn't even notice a difference in climate.
Well, I sure did when I came back the next day still wearing shorts. And
Sure
I
you
was
did.
like, ooh.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. Had
That's
fun
great.
celebrating the Big Daddy. We had a meal at the Boathouse, which is at Disney Springs,
Oh, yeah,
which is
for sure.
phenomenal. And I'm not kidding. You'll appreciate this. I don't know if I said this on the show yesterday, but if not, I'm going to say it again today. Or if I did, I'm going to say it again today. So we got these great meals, and then I was sitting, myself and Matt Cardona, Mark Monaco, and then our good friend Gary. We were kind of in one corner, and I looked at the other corner, and everybody gotten steaks, and we'd had some nice apps, some oysters, and all that. And I noticed they all had gotten lobster tails with their steaks. I'm like, we'll take lobster
we'll
tails
take
down
that
here.
too,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Who
we did
doesn't want
that.
it?
So we did that. And I got to tell you, it was the best lobster tail I've had in a long time. I couldn't even think of the last time I had a lobster tail that was this good. It was so plump. It was so, like, the meat was the perfect consistency. The drawn butter was excellent. It was just it was a perfect lobster tail. Everything you want came right out and easy.
You want that. You need it cooked. So it's probably the cooking, the
was perfect.
preparedness was perfect.
Perfectly steamed. It was perfect. And it was delicious. The meat was sweet. It was a great lobster tail. So we're going on being, oh man, what a great meal. The wine's flowing at this point after we'd had many we really had been I was kind of on a Gibbe program since
It's like
about
a
10:30 in the
24-hour
morning.
bomb situation,
Yeah,
really,
no
from the
doubt.
night before. You run it right back in.
Oh yeah. And we had a big Friday night as well. It was really just like a weekend
It's a
of just
real party.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so I looked down, and George and Jay and the Big Daddy, round 2 of lobster tails come out.
Ran it right back.
Bring us more. Guess what?
Same.
We'll take more down here as well. And it was just as
gluttonous.
delicious the second time. And the waiter comes over about 5 minutes after we had gotten our lobster tail, and we didn't sit down until about 9:45. So we're in the
Oh my God.
we're around like 11 o'clock-ish, 11:30 here, and we're loud and we're having a great time.
Yeah.
The waiter comes over and says, "Just got to let you guys know, it's now last call for lobster tails." Which
They were going to still try and do more.
nobody was, but he was just letting us know that this
If
was.
you wanted to order any more, we're done.
This is last call.
That's a
right?
wrap.
Get it in now.
The kitchen is closed.
He's like, get it in now. This is last call. Which I felt like that's a sign of a great meal. When they have to say last call for lobster tails,
Yeah, at almost midnight.
it feels like you've done a good job.
God, that's amazing.
An incredible line. Like,
It's a great job out of him. I
great
like
job
that
out of
line.
him. Great job out of us. Great job out of everybody.
Yeah, I like that guy.
And then Scotty's boy Jay, shout out to him, picked up the whole meal.
Well, Scotty's boy Jay does well.
Apparently so.
Yeah, because
Kudos to him.
That's a big boy.
Oh, it was a large.
How many people?
About 10. Not everybody. There are only 5 people doing on the lobster train.
Yeah, but you're still doing.
You're
doing
a couple
cocktails
large.
and
You're a
you're
couple
doing
large.
and you're doing wine. I think that's around 3.
less, but a couple
in
large.
that vicinity. Yeah, it's in that vicinity.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Heck
Good
of
grief.
a night.
Yeah, that's a good job out of him. He's done very well for himself. Good job.
Hero.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, it was great. How was your time down
It was great.
in Columbus?
It was great. Always good to see familiar friends and great
Threes.
people, and reunited with Threes a little bit. Did a little bourbon tasting with the people of Buffalo Trace. It's a pretty had a great, probably the most I've had a chance to talk to Coach Day face to face. Talked to him a lot in other ways, but in terms of face to face, had a great talk with him about where the sport is and where the program is and those type of things. So that was very, very good.
Where does he think the program is? Elite.
Yeah, I mean
They are.
They are. Yeah, they're. It's amazing. Like you think of like, like JT John Telich. His brother's down there. Is a Mickey D's guy down there, right?
Okay.
So he's got all sorts of. So I was sitting there talking to him, and that's the beauty of that program is that for 50 years it's been good. For 50 years it's been great. For 100 it's been good. They don't have a dip. They don't have dips. They don't have it. They've had
elite.
Every coach that they've hired since Woody Hayes is a Hall of Famer, and Ryan Day's on that trajectory. Like, they don't have – it's just something you can count on. There's never a lull. I mean, once you hire Woody Hayes, it's all uphill from that point on. They've been relevant the whole time. So it is surreal, though, I will say. Like, it was a gala, and the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer, which is awesome. I know we're doing a cruise next spring. So it was those people, and then it was Cohesion Foundation, which is a name, image, and likeness fund that they're doing where they tie it to charity. But it's just a pretty wild thing where we are in that sport, where you are you're fundraising to pay athletes is basically what's happening in a lot of sense, and it's the weirdest thing. It's just a strange spot for the sport.
I have a question.
I'll answer it for you.
How well were the Nantucket Reds received? Because when I saw the picture,
you like that?
I fell back in my chair.
Yeah.
Beatbox.
Yep.
The great Minister Box, when he got married, the groomsmen's outfits were Nantucket Reds with a blue blazer over.
Love it.
Which is, as classic as you can get. But
love that.
For you to see you in the Nantucket Reds, I knew that they had. There was no doubt in my mind that your closet contained Nantucket Reds.
That's right.
There's
that's right.
Zero doubt.
Yeah.
But to see you pull it out there in this
it
environment
felt
was
appropriate
great.
with the scene and the because
and then the Red Sox had some Buckeye socks.
I
on.
did have some Buckeye socks, with a nice black over. I mean it's that's what you got to do.
Did you get
very well received?
Very well. Do people? I imagine people at this gala would know that they are Nantucket Reds.
I think.
Why are you wearing salmon pants?
Yeah, no.
These are Nantucket Reds.
I think that's right. I think in this particular setting, it was known. It was known. Yeah. So it's good. And then everything down there was all about the draft and where those guys all sort out and how where those three Buckeyes in the first round, where they all go. Mr. Zagura.
And I know you probably can't answer this, but I'm curious. I know that there's the real truth and then there's the truth, right? And I imagine the truth is that C.J. Stroud's the best quarterback in this draft, but did you get any real truth beyond, like, any more insight into strengths, weaknesses, overall fit? What if Ryan Day were selecting number 1 overall, he'd take C.J. Stroud?
No.
I bet you didn't. Can't say you wouldn't.
No, I mean this has been a crazy week.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the Levis stuff based on a Reddit.
Oh yeah. And Pete Prisco, by the way.
Oh, he's running amok?
Pete Prisco has declared that without question, Will Levis is the best quarterback in this class. And he said, I may have been wrong about things before, but I'm not wrong about this.
Yes, you have been.
Well, I mean,
a great
his
many
trial,
things.
he was eviscerated.
Quickly,
which really is
in
mean that he's
short
basically
order.
Locked up for life.
Short order, we took care of Pete Prisco.
That was
push the chips in.
By the way, still, hey Pete, it's aged worse for you.
It's aged worse.
It was worse years ago. It was bad.
Yeah.
And now it's worse.
It was
that Zeke versus Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I know it. I think that's unbelievable in retrospect. That and the trial of Pedro were two things that were so built up in terms of the fight that we thought we needed to be prepared for, and then it was over. I mean, we didn't even have to. You ordered the code red. You did none of it. You doctored the logbooks. We didn't have to do any of it. It was like Lieutenant Caffey just came up, and all of a sudden, here, victory.
We on Sweet Pete, we mentally led him around to the point where he contradicted himself within 5 minutes.
Right away.
And then it was
done.
You're done.
Yeah.
And my dad,
Pedro's.
didn't have it. No.
So, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely nonsense. How about this, the Rodgers thing happening before?
Great.
Yeah, fantastic. You saw him walk in today?
I did.
Slow-mo walking in?
I did. Him and Salah, I felt like that was a strong moment there. I felt like a good chemistry, good bond, and also maybe a little mutual respect of some battles from the Niners and the Packers.
Yeah. No, it is. It's
I'll tell you what, my Garrett Wilson dynasty teams are not sad.
No.
Not a little bit.
No, they'll do just fine on that. They absolutely will. What do we got? I got to, before I start talking about something else, I just want to make sure. Okay, so we have a grievance that I need to hear in regard to AP.
Oh yeah.
From his performance yesterday.
Just not even a grievance, just absurdity, just lunacy, just pure and total.
This is a man who
lunacy.
I believe I did a audible spit take.
I did yesterday
when he dropped the Dolphins without Tua higher in the power rankings than the Bengals. He had that.
You're gonna find that there is a huge, like, I gotta see it in AP.
Yeah,
like he's gotta see it to believe it.
With his his own eyes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Which I told him, I said, AP, you're never gonna make any money in the stock market. You can't invest in something after it's popped. You have to predict.
No.
I believe this is going to go this way, and so I invest in it.
But I also think he's basing some of his hot takes
off of what?
One was a flaming Cheetos.
Oh boy,
he's not. Listen, the fact of the matter is, based on his takes yesterday,
he was basing some of it off of trends
that exist in his mind. I am convinced, and this is the first person that I've met that's in the industry. That I am convinced Gibbe would mop the floor with him and guess the stats.
Crush him.
Wow,
that's one of one.
This could be a June
a showdown.
Former Howard Stern spelling bee, but it would be guess
that.
the stats with Poisal and I.
I like it. It is odd to be a day before the draft and be like, hanging out. How many hours you got on the radio network tomorrow night?
Way too many.
What are you at? What's the number? Give me the
4.
number.
8 to midnight.
I believe that's longer than the ESPN coverage.
And then 5.
No, because
the
draft, ESPN will be longer. ESPN will start at 7.
That's Gibbe.
They're punting at 11. According to my programming sources.
It'll go to about 11:15, 11:30.
Right.
If we can get out a few minutes early, we will.
All right.
7 to midnight on Friday. And then ask Gibbe what gift he gave me to just celebrate the year 2023 for Saturday's coverage.
Noon to 4.
It's always been noon to 3. I've done it for more than a decade.
I used to do it with you.
Noon to 3.
Yeah. And now you picked up an extra hour?
And the reason was because we have so many 7th-round picks. You know what I say?
We won't.
So what? Are any of them going to be on the 2023 Cleveland Browns?
Can you be?
I don't know.
Can we be nimble?
Can't answer that.
Can we be nimble?
Can we be nimble? If we trade out, can we be nimble?
Can you drop an hour? You're locked in.
No, so let's say we trade every 6th and 7th round pick.
No. Our 3rd round picks will most likely be in the building. They'll join you live on setup here on Saturday.
Very exciting.
Why can't they do it between 12 and 3?
Well, you need that extra hour to work that in.
We've never had it before, Bo, and yet it's worked.
I'm aware.
So just saying.
It'll be fine. You don't have anything else going on.
Let me ask you this.
Yes, I do.
Let me ask you this. Have you, you and I have not spoken. Did you watch Succession Sunday or Monday night?
Of course.
Yeah. How great.
Great episode.
Man, those two are buffoons.
Shiv not?
Not
in this week anyway.
No. She's all back. She's back, baby.
Fully back.
She's back. Yeah. He mopped the floor with those two. You Scooby-Dooing me? Hanna-Barbera Business School was unbelievable.
So yeah.
Those two bozos walking around on that mountain.
I did at least appreciate Romulus at one point and just had enough and was just like, wasn't maybe the smartest thing to do or the most savvy, but at least he
Yeah. They had no plan.
There was something real about that. Kendall is an idiot.
Moron.
Just sat there saying moronic thing after moronic thing that really meant
nothing. Stupid, cliche,
nonsense.
Yes, words nonsense. With word salad nonsense.
Yeah. I did appreciate after having seen it on your Twitter, though, the picture of Frank and Carl.
Isn't that all you want?
It's great.
Great robe.
Sitting
outside of a
cherry
Schwitz.
cloth. Yeah.
Little cocktail. Who gets hurt?
Nobody gets hurt.
Just amazing. So good.
I do think it's incredible, though, without giving any spoilers away for those who haven't watched. But at this point, I feel like you should have watched it.
Yeah, it's time.
Unbelievable and unnecessary confession by Skarsgård or whatever his name is.
Unless it was done to ingratiate himself with Shiv for the trust.
But it felt like it almost is that little bit gave her a little bit of leverage to maneuver with him.
There's no question it did. And maybe he stepped too far. He was on a narcotic. She was not.
Correct.
So maybe he...
It's like Larry Davidson. Who would you trust? You, who've been drunk the whole of your life to Lewis, or me, who's been lucid my entire life?
Yeah.
That just felt like he just
yeah.
changed the terms of the deal of his own volition in a negative direction for him for no reason.
Yeah.
He had already dominated the other two.
Oh, my God. Just bullied him around the whole time.
He didn't bully. And again, Romulus Lee stood up for himself. I don't enjoy sad man with no country Wamsgams. I like chesty.
Well, he's got it back. He's got a country back now.
Sounds like Shiv's going to welcome him back.
Here's the one thing I would say, though. I think she ascended a little too quickly. We have too many episodes left for her to fall on her face.
And I don't know, maybe she won't. I think this could all be for her to bring him back just to totally rip his heart out.
Tommy?
Yeah. He betrayed her in the most ultimate way possible.
Yeah.
And
I mean, to be fair.
So did she.
Yeah.
But I think in her mind, what he did with her father was worse.
Yeah.
And so I think that she wants to bring him back to kill him.
Yeah. But she's going to give him a little bit of a nugget here or there along the way to enjoy it. Yeah.
And Greg is awful. I'm done with him. I actually don't even enjoy his character anymore.
I don't think that there's any real note for him to play.
The Quad Squad?
Yeah. Like just nonsense. He did light up when he said that he was a Roy too. Like your boy Mattson kind of lit up with that. Like I wonder if he's gonna if he finds value in that clown.
Well, I read an article in The Economist. Oh, really? Did you? Did you, Greg? Do tell. When Wamsgam sits down, and his first opening line just lands like a
They were all just
balloon.
rubes. They were all just rubes, except for, Caroline and the stuff with Hugo was great too, with the skier. It's incredible.
But why would you take that tact if you were Hugo? You insulted him.
Just want to show. I don't know.
5 times in a row, and then he wonders why he's on the list. Well,
yeah,
you could have tried to find a common ground. Not like, man, you almost did something really cool,
right?
But you're a failure and a choke artist.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah. It's good. It's a shame because there's enough there where just a season of you could do a full season of just the kids and this aftermath. It's hard to believe there's only like 4 episodes left.
Sad. It's sad, really.
The writing's incredible. All right, lots to get to. It is the day before the NFL draft. We will not pick until, what are we talking about, Friday, 10:30? Something like that?
9:54, according to Jack.
Should be right around 10 o'clock.
Right around 10 o'clock, you'll get the first of the 2 picks in the 3rd round. So a lot of sitting and waiting, a lot of nonsense out there, liar's poker everywhere in the National Football League leading into tomorrow. We did have Aaron Rodgers introduced in New York. That's happening as well, and some news out of Cincinnati coming that way. Maybe some surprising news out of Washington as well. Lots to get to here. Off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. New way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns with the help of your favorite four-legged companion. Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. Aaron Rodgers, has it happened yet? Or I saw him walking in.
Oh, yeah, he's there.
Yeah, I don't think the presser has
is
happened
like at
yet.
2 o'clock, I think, is when that presser is. I thought
I
it was
noticed
a really
he was super clean cut.
Yeah.
And didn't look like he has the last couple of years when he showed up.
I mean, he had it's the greatest troll of all time when he showed up as Con Air.
Great.
Last year
Yes.
for camp. That was one of the greatest troll jobs of all time. So I saw his thank you and notes to Green Bay. Look, he's done a lot of odd things in the last couple of years, but this all started with, in 2020, a team that felt like it was a player away from winning a Super Bowl traded
A weapon away.
traded up to draft his replacement.
That's right.
It's not like Jordan Love fell to them and they were like, it's too good to pass up. This is an asset.
No, that's right.
We got to do it. They actually pursued his replacement, and then he had 2 more MVP seasons afterwards. They started it, man.
That's right.
They started it.
That's right.
And that's the thing that you can't – that to me, for all of it, all of this stuff, much of it's justified. Like, people want to go at him. They traded up to draft his replacement, where if you would have traded up and drafted him a weapon, or just drafted him a weapon, period, in any of these drafts, until finally Christian Watson last year, they didn't even draft weapons.
You could have
for him.
traded up and gotten Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. How they win a Super Bowl if they have Justin Jefferson?
Certainly possible, no doubt.
So here's the thing that you say, though, and this is the harsh reality of this situation. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, Lawrence, Rodgers, Jackson for now, Watson. That's what do I got?
That's
9.
8.
That's 8.
One of them
That's
is not
8.
going to make the playoffs.
That's 8 legit franchise Big F quarterbacks. Beyond that, Tua with elite weapons, maybe the best supporting cast in football. Garoppolo, who's had success and played in a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson, for crying out loud, is still in that.
And he's got
and
Sean
he's got
Payton.
weapons and Sean Payton, and they didn't hire Sean Payton to not win. So that gets you to 11 teams, or at least 11 teams. And by the way, I'm not even mentioning Pittsburgh, who goes 9-8 every year and is in the playoff mix. So there's 11 or 12 teams that view themselves as playoff teams. There's 9 legit franchise quarterbacks in the AFC.
I think there's 9 teams that think, or 10 teams in the AFC that really think they can win the Super Bowl.
I agree with
include the Broncos in that.
I don't have a problem with that. So that's 10. 3 aren't making the postseason.
Not making the playoffs.
And here's the other reality of this. Mahomes is in the postseason. Burrow's in the postseason. Allen's in the postseason. I think Rodgers is in the postseason with that cast, barring injury.
Lawrence
is automatically because he's in the AFC South. So that means the rest of us for 2.
I'm not ready to just give up this division yet.
I'm not giving up the division. I'm just saying
I'm not crowning them.
I didn't say they win the division. I said they're making the playoffs. Cincinnati Bengals have been in the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game the last 2. They're not going from that with the same cast to missing the postseason.
Very
barring
different
injury.
backfield, defensive backfield. It's a new defensive backfield.
I think they think
when you have the quarterback
and you have
and
Jamar Chase
weapons,
and T.
you
Higgins.
can do anything.
and you have the weapons.
Yeah, you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Yeah, and they've got a pick at 28. Like, they're not going anywhere. They're going.
I think they're fine.
They're making it. So that's 5. So that means the rest.
I'm saying right now
for
we're
2
making
spots.
So the rest for 1 spot.
All right, the rest for 1 spot. So that's Miami. Look at that. Look at that. Who's out? And I didn't even give you Herbert as an in.
I think they'll be in too.
I don't know because I don't trust their coach.
They're so talented.
So talented. I mean, last year they were hurt in ways that are almost unfathomable.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the only part that changes all this. We're saying this
just sucks,
everything
man.
being equal, but the truth is some team is going to get just completely
and that's we didn't even
decimated by
get to the
injuries.
NFC QB rankings yesterday, and that's why Poison's coming back.
Look at. I look forward to it. But look at this. Juxtapose that to this.
Yeah.
And it's not even just the quarterback. It starts there, obviously, and it's the most important part. But it's the supporting cast. I mean, like, I don't have Tua on that list. It's going to be hard for them to make the postseason. They've got a brilliant
They have a total
coach,
Super Bowl roster.
and their roster is ready-made.
Yeah.
Ready-made. They have
If he plays
everything.
the whole season, they're going to make the playoffs.
Waddle and Hill.
Yeah. They just add Jalen Ramsey to their D. They're loaded.
Well, you just did you have them making the playoffs if he stays healthy? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think if you said that he was going to play 17 games.
We got too many teams
maybe they're the 7th.
Because you put us in, and didn't you put Chargers in? That's too many.
No
Ravens.
Maybe it's not a guarantee that Buffalo.
No Ravens.
Automatic.
It's hard to go from 13-3 to 9-8.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
10-7. You might not make it.
They need to expand the playoffs to 8 teams first of all.
Oh no, that means no.
Why not?
Because that just means more football, more weeks.
It'd be the same amount of weeks.
It's actually exact same, just nobody gets a bye.
I don't know if I like that. I like rewarding at least one team for
So if it's Chiefs,
and
Bengals, Bills,
people
Chargers,
are playing their people.
Jaguars, and us. I'm going to get back to this in a second because it's resonating with me. Lamar, the Dolphins, Wilson would all be out.
It's loaded, dude. This is gonna be the most compelling AFC season ever.
10-7 with mishmash quarterback last year and all their injuries. Never had a healthy backfield, and they went 10-7.
So ugly though, but yeah.
Nonetheless, you are what your record says you are.
Well, last year, that's true.
I mean, that's craziness. It's absolutely crazy talk. Give me 8 doesn't change anything.
Doesn't change anything. I don't understand.
Exact same games.
That's why.
So you're saying if you go to 10 or something, then
it changes.
Now you're picking up weeks, but you're not going to pick up weeks with 8.
I would say that I think that most teams, I'm not sure they even want the bye.
I think it's just stupid to do it for one team.
And there are plenty of teams that lose coming off the bye.
Right. I think it's stupid to do it for one team. Like if you want to do, everyone should, if you want to have a cup in the old days when you had 2 divisions.
Yeah. 2 buys.
2 buys, fine. But the way it is now with 3 divisions, I think it's.
I'd expand to 8 teams. Who doesn't want it? It's more compelling, I think. And right now, the problem is you would have, I think if you were to do this honestly today and say that, okay, 14 teams are going to make the playoffs, and it was just the best 14 teams, it would be 10 AFC teams and 4 NFC teams.
Well, and even the 4, to get to your 4, obviously Philly's going to go 16-1. I don't know, is Dallas? I mean, one of the teams you're having is the 49ers, but their quarterback situation is obviously murky.
Yep.
So, Philly for sure.
Yeah.
But then beyond that.
Well, Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback that even is in this grouping.
Oh, yeah.
In the whole conference.
That's right. Yeah.
8 of the 9 best quarterbacks in the league are in this conference. And then I would probably argue that of the top 12, it's at least 10 of the top 12 and probably 11 of the top 12. Probably 10 of the top 12.
I mean, that's
I'd put Russ in, Jimmy out, and you have Jalen Hurts, and you can pick, maybe Stafford.
Yeah. Yes, we forget about him.
Yeah, somebody I know forgot about him.
The Joe Burrow, his 5th-year option was picked up.
Yes.
From what I understand, they are working diligently.
Yeah, they said it's a formality.
Yeah. So they just want to do this. It was done before the draft. I think the deadline's next week. But they're working on a long. The only thing that nobody really understands down there is it important for Burrow to at some point be the highest paid player in football? In that case, can they get it done before Herbert, or does he want Herbert to go first so that he can trump it? Is that something that even matters to him? That's the one thing. And then the other thing is what do you do with Higgins? Because he's a $20 million a year receiver, and does he want to be a number 1? Or is he happy being, perpetually a number 2 in Cincinnati, although a very good behind one of the best ones? So that's kind of where they are as they head into the draft tomorrow. The Washington Commies did not exercise Chase Young's 5th-year option per sources.
What do you make of that?
Well, I saw Breer this morning about this, and he was saying that the injury he suffered was far more complicated than originally thought. That this is more of an injury thing than anything else. But I would imagine people will now start making calls on Chase Young. But he's been banged up. Has he? I mean, because he got banged up as a rookie.
Yes,
I mean, he's been banged up.
I'd take a shot at him. Put him on the other side of Myles Garrett and see what happens there.
Pretty high ceiling. On all that, yeah. The deadline is Monday. Still no word on Jed Wills from our perspective.
They're gonna pick up his option.
There you go. Well, there's your word.
I'd be absolutely stunned. So he's still got Chase Young 1 Pro Bowl, which is rookie season. All right, I'll get a little guess the stats. In 3 years in the NFL, how many sacks does Chase Young have?
Well,
27 career games.
I go 12 sacks.
Yeah, I think that's probably not far off. Maybe 15.
9.
Really?
7.5 his rookie year. 1.5 in 9 games his second year, and then none last year, but only 3 games.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Yeah, it's a weird one for him. I don't know. Is he in? He's just
That's
really never been
show us
healthy.
that you're healthy.
He's just never been healthy.
Well, yeah,
which sucks. Which is
you
got to
does
be
suck, but you
availability is a big deal.
Yeah,
got to make sure you are that. He was felt like as sure a thing as you'll ever find coming out of Ohio State when he came into that draft, coming off of the 2 Bosas, and a lot of people thought maybe that he was better than both of them. So, yeah, but that was surprising to me because the high end talent remains as high as it gets. All right, coming up next, what do we got? We got a little higher, lower. We're going to do it with the quarterbacks of the NFC, and then we've got airing of grievances with AP as
there
well.
There might be 1 or 2. We'll get you up to speed.
All right, 1 grievance. So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Valley Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And be part of one of the most passionate fan bases in the National Football League. Join the Browns season ticket member waitlist today. Best chance of securing tickets for all home games of future seasons. Don't miss out. Go to clevelandbrowns.com/tickets or call 440-891-5050 to reserve your spot today. AP is here. Our senior staff writer, Mr. Anthony Poisel, is here. So yesterday you guys did – what did you guys do? You did AFC QBs ranking?
Yep, we did.
Okay.
And then a question was posed.
Do you want to do this in terms of a trial? Is this the trial of AP?
Man, that's rough.
We had
I don't think it has.
We had a trial yesterday, and I stood my ground. Okay?
I think on one of
well, you're also going to the slammer.
Yeah, one is
and Bailiff is taking you away.
Yeah, that's
all right.
That's a
why don't Gibbe? Why don't you pose the question to Bo Bishop and just use, if you had to pick one quarterback for your franchise to win a Super Bowl this year, and then also which quarterback do you believe in more for 2023, and then name the names and give it to him. So I don't want to. The way that I could
questions. We only had one question.
Which question do you believe?
It was just a matter of how would you rank the two quarterbacks? It's a group of two quarterbacks for this.
For what though? But then I followed up.
Just who would you want to be your quarterback for 2023?
Just 2023 in isolation.
Just one season.
Yes.
2023.
Okay. All right.
And I get two choices?
Yes.
Can I know the choices?
Yes. Give him the choices.
I'm pretty sure the choices were.
I got my pen.
Let's Ride.
Okay.
And Kenny Pickett.
You didn't.
Yeah. And then he said it's based on what he's seen. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson was better than Kenny Pickett in every category last year, and he sucked and is a year removed from being one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he's got Sean Payton. It's insane.
So I need to set the record straight on a few things here, okay?
Okay.
Well, be careful.
I am going to be
careful. It's all in the permanent record.
Okay.
Because
we have court recorders on everything.
You are running this so far, and it is just like I feel like it's gotten distorted as far as how you think I view both of these quarterbacks. Okay, so the first thing I need to set straight is I do not think Kenny Pickett was a good quarterback.
I think you think Kenny Pickett is better than Russell Wilson, and you would rather have him be your quarterback for 2023 because that's what you said.
That is what I'm going to say because.
And I couldn't disagree with you more.
Well, first off, you didn't let me set the record straight.
Okay, sorry.
I do not think Kenny Pickett
my mic off
was a good quarterback last year, and I am not confident he will become one this year. And I was not saying he was a playoff QB like you were alluding to in your tweet to me this morning. That's not what I was saying.
Okay.
I do not think Russell Wilson was a good quarterback last year, and I'm not confident he will return to one this year. Okay? Third thing is my basis for putting Pickett one spot ahead of Wilson in the QB rankings is solely because Pickett is a full 10 years younger than Wilson, will be going under a second year with a head coach. Wilson has a new head coach.
I feel like you wrote something do you have a prepared response?
Hold on a second. Age? No, it was for this season. It had nothing to do with age or younger. It was who's for this season. And you said Pickett. So his age is irrelevant. Irrelevant. This isn't like you're building a franchise for the next decade. That's irrelevant. It was for this season.
Yeah.
And honestly, for the next decade, I'd take Wilson.
What I'm saying is Russell Wilson is old. He's significantly older.
He's 34.
I don't want to bank on Russell Wilson having such a big rebound year when he is at this age and played terribly last season.
His terrible last season that you're ascribing to be terrible,
when we looked up,
was way better than Kenny Pickett last year. And you think
so you're banking on Kenny Pickett. You're saying that he's going to bounce. Year two, he goes.
Kenny Pickett didn't have a full season. Didn't have a full rookie season.
I'm not saying he's going to go.
But you his dad?
I'm not saying he's going to go.
What is he doing?
He is.
There's
it's
representation?
So crazy. He's crazy. By the way, you introducing the age into this is completely erroneous.
That's what we brought up yesterday.
But it's for just this year. You're talking about one guy versus a 9-time Pro Bowler. You're talking about a guy versus a guy that in the 4 seasons prior threw for 140 touchdowns, and he threw for 31 interceptions.
The reason why I bring up the age is because I don't think because of Russell Wilson's age, it's a guarantee that he's going to bounce back.
Do you think 34 is old for a quarterback?
One who played like Russell Wilson did last year, yeah.
He was still better than Pickett in every
and here's the other thing. Here's the thing.
And had horrible coaching, and you made an excuse for Doug Peterson with Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer the year before.
Here's your biggest, I mean, there's 1,000, but the big issue here is that, like, Wilson's start last year with Hackett when they had to bring Kubiak's kid to like handle the clock.
Horrific coaching.
Like, I mean, it was the most inept coaching in the history that we've seen in terms of what was being asked on a weekly basis from him. Not an offense that took advantage of him at all, of his skill set, clearly.
And we're not Russell Wilson fans, by the way.
I'm not a fan of either of these two quarterbacks.
But just the fact that, like, if everybody that you loved in the world's life was on the line, and you had, we'll call it even one game now.
That's heavy.
One season.
Oh, yeah.
You would rather go
I don't know if I
to
recall
you'd
that
pick
the
Kenny
whole life
Pickett.
was on the line. Here comes
It doesn't
Rama
matter.
Zadura.
That's the point. The point is he thinks Kenny Pickett is better than Russell Wilson. That's the whole point.
What was Mike Seaver's dad in Growing Pains? Was it Alan? Was that
Alan
Thicke.
Yeah, but what was his
his name?
Yeah.
Mike.
I don't know.
Mike's the kid. Mike's Kirk Cameron. What was the dad's name?
I don't know.
That's what it reminds me of. Like he's Kirk Cameron into some nonsense, and his pops is over here trying to bail him out.
Trying to bring him in.
It's tough take, buddy. Tough take.
Yeah. Well, we all have those from time to
as
time,
soon
okay?
as
And look, if this bites me in the butt, then guess what? I'm okay with it because then that means that
you
the Steelers
also
Don't get
to be
heated.
fair-
We'll
to
just
be
source
fair-
the best Al Pastor tacos in town. We have a taco bet on this.
What we have is a little bit of a trend because we did have the Tua-less Dolphins better than the Bengals from this year in the power rankings, where I had a spit
and that was bad.
take.
That was
on
wrong of me.
He also,
That was
he
wrong of me
also
to say that.
yesterday had one more
Jason Seaver.
Jason Seaver.
in the NFC.
And this one, I am absolutely
Well, there was
I'm
the other
totally
one
fine
that
with
was
this.
discussed off air as well. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Yep.
Matt
let's-
Stafford
Yeah.
versus Jared Goff.
What I don't understand. What are we doing? Like for
who
next
would
year?
you rather take for next year?
So here in the CBS Sports QB rankings, Jared Goff comes in at number 5.
Are we doing that now? Is this where this is?
Yeah, Stafford's 11, and he agreed. I said that was. I made one
So,
note
look.
on this whole thing. Stafford arrow up.
This is
Past 5?
I'd put him at 3 or 2.
the idea that
He won a Super Bowl 2 years
like
ago.
he was.
And then what
hurt
happened?
last
And
year.
then
He
what
was
could have
hurt.
won. He could have won the MVP.
He got hurt and still
2
completed
years ago.
68% of his passes last year. Like, I don't know what we're talking about. The Rams traded Jared Goff and number 1 picks for Matt Stafford and then won a Super Bowl.
I think you could make a real
Didn't
argument.
happen a decade
Look,
ago.
you can't do that.
And I love Goff.
The other thing you can't do is
I
you
love
can't do
Goff.
what you cannot do is try to guess what someone's health will be next year.
All things
Everything
being
that you're
equal.
hearing out of LA is that
That he's healthy
Stafford's
again.
good to go and ready to go.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you could make a very strong argument that she should go 1 in the NFC based on what we saw 2 years ago. 1.
I still like
and
Hurts.
that's what because my thing with Hurts is
But he's 2.
so much of it is scheme predicated.
Sure.
It's the perfect situation for
by
a
the way,
scheme.
I love
Stafford's been elite with everything.
I love Goff.
So, like, how much of the scheme predicated stuff are we factoring in for next year too, though? Like, I know
No,
we're
no,
talking about it
I'm
last
fine
year,
with
but
it.
we're talking about just
we're
the
saying,
pure
like,
quarterback. Like, we're just having him, and we're just having him on our team.
If you put him on your team, that's where the delineation is.
You put Matt Stafford on the
Jalen Hurts is in the best position. You could argue he's in a top 5 position in the league in terms of for him to succeed.
Yeah.
You put Matt Stafford on the Dolphins right now, they're
They are going.
a Super Bowl favorite. You put Jared Goff on the Dolphins, they're exactly where they are right now. And I like Jared Goff. You have to understand, I'm a big Jared Goff guy. I think Jared Goff in the NFC should be number 5. I think he's appropriately rated. I just think Stafford should be number 2.
I love Fields. They got to take Fields.
And you could
down.
put Goff ahead of Kirk Cousins for all I care.
I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying you're wrong for making an argument for Matt Stafford. I see your guys' argument.
How do they have
Okay.
Jordan Love
I think it's close.
9?
I don't know. It's insane.
I've never seen him do anything. Like we've seen Kyler dominate. I
Kyler
realize.
should be higher too. Kyler should be higher too.
I mean, he should be higher.
Listen,
than
your Goff one is not as crazy as Kenny Pickett and Russell Wilson.
Okay, that I can live with that.
Yeah, not as crazy.
I can live with that. And
I mean, Goff is good.
That's why I was hoping.
Goff
that's what I
last
was
year-
hoping to say.
Stafford's
Goff
gonna go
last
way
year,
up on this.
65%, 4,400 yards,
Stafford should be-
29 touchdowns,
Jerry
7
Jones
picks.
would
Goff.
trade Dak Prescott for Matt Stafford yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
In a millisecond, he would
Yep.
do that trade right now.
The Lions would do it.
Coming
If they
off
just
the
said, we
injury.
can just swap, you can give us
Yeah.
back Matt Stafford and for Goff, they would do that.
A healthy Stafford would be traded by every team in the NFC for next year except for Philly.
Do you think the Steelers would, if Denver called and said, hey, we'll give you Russell Wilson for Kenny Pickett, 1 for 1? What do you think
what
Steelers say?
Just think how you.
You
how
want me
we
to
view
give
this
in? I'll
differently.
say yes.
GM Poisel says, sorry, Sean.
Sorry, bud.
Not
Not doing it.
interested.
Yeah.
We're not riding. And by the way, don't like Russell Wilson. I felt so much about him I find off-putting.
He's a little. Yeah.
I mean, the
He's a little
outtakes from the
squeamish.
Subway
Yeah.
commercial were
Yeah.
cringe.
Yep.
But he's better than Kenny Pickett.
There's got to be more to him though. Like he did land Ciara.
More like what, 200 million?
Yeah, but it's not like she was hurting. Like she was
True,
with
true.
Future before. Like she's.
He must be charmed. Maybe he's charmed.
Maybe he is. Oh, I know what it is. I remembered what it was. Oh yeah, never mind. All right. So the Well, just it
I don't
clicked.
even
I haven't
wanna
thought
know.
about it. I hadn't thought
It's
about
like,
it.
when
for
you
a
brought
long
up Sarah,
time.
I'm like, where are we going?
The
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, this is
so-
the biggest thing between these two that you look at is just the gulf is the Grand Canyon
yeah.
in talent. It's absolutely brutal. It's just
No.
brutal. Like the Eagles are set up to go 15-2 for the. I mean, they're going to just go to the Super Bowl. Put them in.
I mean,
Yes.
look at the 2 7s on this list, like Lamar Jackson versus that. To me is where it's most. I mean, you could really pick any number.
Derek
after
Carr's even
one.
fine, but when you go, yeah, like
Deshaun Watson, Danny Dimes,
Jalen Hurts is the only
Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith.
Jalen Hurts is the only one in the top 10 in the NFL that is in the NFC.
I have
Maybe
no problem with
Stafford.
that.
Stafford would be next.
Healthy Stafford, I would have him 2, and then Prescott 3.
Yep.
I don't know. Like I love Fields, but I got to
not
see him
4.
throwing it more consistently. Like if I'm trying to win next year, I like Goff more than Fields.
By the way, our guy being below Sam Howell, sight unseen, is
I was gonna say, why is Sam
brutal.
Howell not
I don't know, but
16?
that's
How many
not-
throws
6
did he
is
make
behind
last year? How many throws did Sam Howell attempt last year? It was like one game, right? I don't
Did
know.
he
Maybe
even
I should-
start a
maybe I
game?
should look. I thought he
maybe he
got a
started the
little bit
game
of
after
action.
we knocked them out.
Yeah, let's see.
And this, at the end of the day, is what I go back to. Atlanta, you really don't need Lamar.
It's idiotic. They should be
Your quarterback
fawning over.
is
They should be like
16 out
falling
of
over themselves
16.
to try to get him.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
which is ridiculous too.
in
I'll
the
tell you
NFC.
this:
Also-
if I'm them, if I hope all this C.J. Stroud stuff's real and he does slip, and I would love it for him too. I'd love for him to go to Atlanta. At 8.
Mike Florio,
I'd love it.
Mike Florio's mock this morning has him
Home run.
in Atlanta.
He's not going. That's the best spot. That's the best spot. That scheme, those weapons. If somehow he were to drop to 8
In a dome.
in a dome in a garbage division, yeah, that's.
They should get Lamar, and
How
they
can
are
they
the
have-
favorites to win that division immediately.
It's Cody Benjamin. I don't know who this Cody Benjamin character is. If he's the one who wrote it, how are you going to have Kyler 12, Stafford 11 behind Jordan Love?
It's crazy.
Behind Lance and Purdy? You know, Kyle. If you said Kyle, you can have Stafford next year, or Purdy and Lance.
I
Come
would think
on.
it's a no-brainer.
Come on. Even everybody, Packers, Giants, Saints, see, everybody would pick Stafford over the
This
one,
li-
except for the Eagles.
His AFC list isn't bad, although I would still put Russ ahead of Tua and Garoppolo.
Lawrence is too high, but
I agree. I
Based
dropped
on
Lawrence
2
down. I
seasons.
put Watson up higher.
because you're going for next year, you're not going for
I
what
still
he's
think Trevor
gonna
Lawrence
be
is a
decade.
stud.
I do too. It's just this is harder over there.
Yeah, it's just loaded. But this NFC list is absurd.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And I would also say, not only for Atlanta, but Houston, who seems destined to take a non-QB at pick number 2.
Yeah.
I would also ask you, what in the hell are you thinking? You're going to run out Davis Mills? You're going to run that out there? Because he's
Like-
currently 16.
Like, are they hoping to get the first overall pick again, or another first overall pick next year?
If you do that, that's an ownership conversation,
Yeah.
and you have to be willing to suffer the slings and arrows that comes with 1-16 or 2-15 or something like that guarantees you're getting. Because next year it's going to be a race to the bottom.
Right.
I mean, there's 2 elite, and maybe 3 elite quarterbacks at next year's draft. Like you can't. That's a lot to stomach. And in football,
Yeah.
when it's physical, it's hard to get beat, man.
Yes. So both Odell Beckham and
Oh, the cryptic tweets.
and Lamar Jackson have made cryptic tweets.
Lamar's was last night, right?
And then today Odell
just-
said book 'em with a lot of excitement.
Did Josina tweet something too?
Did she?
I thought I saw a comment.
Yes.
What did she say?
I checked
She
Twitter
had
just
some
before I hopped in here.
SpongeBob
I think
gif or-
I think I said Monday on the show that I would be shocked if both Rodgers wasn't dealt and the Ravens didn't have certainty by tomorrow.
Well, and you and I.
one nailed, and if
Well, my
it's
first-
got to get done.
my first
they're
reaction,
too smart of an
honest-
organization to go into the draft without knowing who the quarterback is.
Well, I don't know if that has to do with the quarterback. My first reaction was, there's rumors that they are going after Hopkins, and is that
That who
could
is?
that be part of it?
The
Ravens, yeah.
It's just an arms race, man. I don't know. To me, it always made sense. To your point on the timing, and to our point, we always said basically that we felt he was either going to play for the Ravens or he wasn't playing.
or nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing anywhere else.
Yeah, 2 choices is the way that thing was going to go. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. All right, well you survived.
Hey, you did great.
Survived.
Trial's over.
Trial's over.
Trial's over.
Trial's
Sen-
over.
We'll move on, and I
Find out.
can't wait.
Well,
I need you to drop a few of these this
We're just
weekend.
You're on
on our draft coverage.
You're just
No.
on parole for a little while, but you're out and
Parole.
about. Yeah.
Well, there were multiple
release.
charges
Yeah. Work release.
in various states,
Yes.
so you have to be careful.
All right.
We'll see. I don't know how welcome. I don't know. Welcome he's going to be in Denver. And by the way,
Look.
also your other take, which I thought was interesting, which is piggybacks on the Russ take. He's not so sure Sean Payton still got it.
Not sure he's still got it. Not sure about the fastball. Need
No,
to see
no,
it.
I said that.
Jason
That is not-
Seaver's back.
I said I'm not. I'm saying I'm not sure if
I'm
Russell
not
Wilson
sure
still
that
got
Sean
it, which
Payton's
I
not
don't
collecting
think
some
is a
paychecks.
hot take.
I
I
think
don't know.
it's a hot
I
take.
don't know
I
if
think
Russell,
it's a
if
Gibby?
Sean Payton will be able to fix all the errors that Russell Wilson had last year.
Okay.
Still
All
better.
I
right.
think you're
Still
paying
better
a
than-
lot
he
of
was
money to a guy, and
still
maybe
better
he's
than
just
Pickett last
collecting
year.
checks for one final payday.
I think that they think they're going to win. They are going to be much better. I think they like.
They think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
That's what I think they think.
That's right.
Yeah.
Broncos country. Don't they have a couple of ones this year too? They traded Bradley
Yeah,
Chubb.
I don't even think they have. A
Yeah,
one.
they have
don't-
Miami.
They got to have
have
Miami's.
They don't
Yeah,
have.
they do have Miami's.
They,
No?
I'm
Hold on.
pretty certain they don't have a first round pick.
have it up right
Was
here.
the Miami one next year? So they
It
have
might.
two
It
next
might
year?
have been. Yeah.
Because they traded for Russ.
Miami's one's got forfeited. So
Not the one they traded though. They traded the one
no,
from the
so
Niners.
they don't. It's the Saints. Miami's one is to the Saints via San Francisco through Miami and Denver. Does that make sense?
Yep.
When they traded Chubb, they got a one for him.
Right.
That was from the original Niners deal for Trey Lance.
So then what?
So they drafted the three ones they got. They drafted Waddle. They traded one for Tyreek Hill, and they traded one for Chubb.
Right.
The Chubb one was to Denver.
So then how did Denver get it to the Saints?
Who would they have Who would they trade for?
I don't know.
AP's on it. I look at him. He's studious. By the way, kudos to AP. Nailed it. They don't have a first round pick.
No one. Got that
No
one
one.
right, buddy. Good job out of you.
He's heating up. He's caution flammable.
Coming up next, second hour, we'll rank every number one pick in the 21st century.
It's
We
the
will do that.
offseason, AP.
And
This is good fun for everybody.
we're going behind enemy lines in Cincinnati as we continue our
Oh,
tour around
baby.
the NFL with the Natty. Jay Morrison going to join us at the bottom of the hour.
Oh, I thought I was baby and for Ben baby.
Oh, no.
Zig and zag.
I have more on that as well. So lots to look forward to here. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. NFL draft tomorrow. Aaron Rodgers being introduced right now with the Jets. Would it be something if Green Bay took Smith and Jigba at 13 in the pick that used
There
to
is
be
speculation
the
that
Jets,
that's why they moved
like, out
ahead
of
of the
spite?
Patriots. Yeah,
like out of spite?
that'd be great.
Gutekunst's just sticking it to him. By the way, they did it. They did all this, right? We talked about that. Like, they wouldn't be in this spot if they just drafted a receiver then, you know?
By the way, you and I were just reading the most outrageous mock draft in the history of the world.
Truly remarkable.
And there are one of my favorites. Somebody quote tweeted and said, "He knows ball. Deal with it." The
Sure.
most important mock of the season. Do you ever miss? Amazing. Just amazing content.
Good job. Good job out of him. This from the number. It's going to be Young, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the way it's going to go. Bryce Young goes 1. By
Yeah.
the time we're all said and done. So what do we have here, Gibby? This is a CBS Sports ranking of the all-time number 1 picks or this century. You're not no mic.
It'd be great if you had an on-air light.
Nah, it's more fun to do it this way.
Okay, this is already
ranking every number 1 pick in the 21st century. I saw this. And
Burrow 11.
Hold on. It's this list is absurd.
This
CBS,
is-
I think they just come
let's
up with
count
the
'em down,
craziest.
baby.
Who
Hey,
are
this-
these humans that write for CBS?
This is great.
He's got Lawrence 20.
Yeah.
He's only played for 2 years. Longevity, it matters to him so much.
He's got to see it. He's like Poisel. Got to see it.
I'm sorry though, but like Trevor Lawrence's career is already better than David Carr's.
He's got Trevor behind.
It's already better
Our
than
guy.
Our guy. It's
Yeah.
better than Jameis's. I mean, I don't know. All right.
Kyler 14. He's
Look where Miles is.
Miles should be the highest rated non-quarterback on the list.
Somehow they have Mario Williams ahead of him.
Do they? No, they have him. Oh, they do.
They do.
They have Mario Williams ahead of him. Miles
Yeah.
should be the number 1 non-quarterback. He's got Stafford 3.
Mario Williams
Palmer
at least
4.
is like a multiple-time Pro Bowler and an All-Pro and all
right,
of
but
that.
Miles is better. So they got Eli Manning. So they're saying Eli Manning is the best number 1 overall pick
In the 21st century.
because of the 2 Super Bowls,
because
right?
of the 2 Super Bowls.
How about this one? Let's do this. By the way, Stafford's got 1.
He's third.
If you were to, how do you feel about this? Jimmy Butler
Himmy Butler.
is to the NBA playoffs what Eli Manning is to the NFL playoffs. Feels like Butler elevates in the playoffs.
I don't have a problem with that.
No championships yet for him,
But he's a
but
stud.
he had 56 the other night and just was
They're up
ridiculous.
3-1.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But yeah. Let's do this exercise. If you were redrafting the NFL, all of these drafts, all these guys are the same age coming out, and it's most interesting with the quarterbacks.
Okay.
And you got any one of these guys at their prime, who would go number 1?
Cam.
Cam would go ahead of Luck
Or
in his
Luck.
prime.
Cam or Luck. And then
No.
probably
Burrow's got to be
Staff-
way up there. Stafford's way up
Stafford,
there.
Burrow, Carson Palmer.
Yeah,
Carson Palmer's pretty good.
yeah.
Probably Luck, but I mean, Cam's peak would be then his MVP season, right? Like, how is he the only? Who else has won MVP on here?
Nobody has.
I think only Cam, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the MVP that year. He was 17-1. He had 14 rushing touchdowns. He threw for 35 touchdowns. In 2015, he ran for 14 touchdowns. He threw 35 touchdowns and just 10 interceptions. First player in league history to throw for 35 touchdowns and run for 10 or more in the same seasons.
I forget that Michael Vick was in 2001.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He is number 6 on this list.
Yeah. Well, that you want to talk about apex. I mean, Michael Vick's, he had to finish top 3 in an MVP.
His I mean, it's a pretty good group because the Apex, Cam probably had the best single year. Luck probably would be you could argue was the best quarterback.
Stafford was pretty damn good.
Stafford was very good.
Palmer was
Burrow's
great.
very good.
Before
Palmer was great.
Before Kimmy Von Oelhoffen shredded his knee, he was incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then and Burrow's last 2 years have been historic.
That year, he led the NFL in touchdown passes and completion percentage, which a long time ago. That's a long time. 2005, 32 touchdowns, 68% was pretty darn good.
Who's that?
Palmer.
Palmer. Yeah.
And then at 36 in 2015, 36 years old, 64%, 4,671 yards, 35 touchdowns, 11 picks, leading the Cardinals to the NFC title game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good group.
How about the fact that the Bengals have picked number 1 overall twice at quarterback and ended up with Palmer and Burrow?
It's pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, I think Miles is the best non-quarterback on
Same.
here.
He's the clear. Should have been the highest ranked.
Yeah.
I mean, how in the heck can you have Alex Smith ahead of Burrow?
So because
and even
he's-
ahead of, I mean, honestly,
Right now,
like
Goff's ahead of Burrow.
Goff's ahead of.
They've both been to Super Bowl. It's just, I think, because he's been around longer. I think he puts way too much on longevity. I mean, Alex Smith was a very good quarterback who was in the league for very long.
The criteria
Here's the problem.
he used
Here's
was
the problem with Alex Smith. In both instances, when they went to the quarterback behind him, the team got better.
Kaepernick and Mahomes.
And Mahomes. Yeah.
individual success and accolades, team success, longevity. That's what he took into consideration.
Longevity.
So the 2 Super Bowls with Eli Manning are the Trump thing, and he was awesome in those Super Bowl runs. But those 2 defenses were also pretty spectacular.
All right, there's
in
23
nature.
players on here.
Yeah.
Using whatever criteria
Yeah.
you and I want, let's draft those 23 players in order, starting at 1. If you'd like to have the first pick, you can have the first pick.
Are we picking them coming out of college or what their NFL careers were?
The peak, their peak,
Their peak?
and you can do whatever you want with it. Like you're taking these people, you get to have them to start your franchise.
Yeah, I got you.
At their whatever. That'll be. I think this will be a more interesting exercise.
Yeah. I think I would go Luck 1.
Okay. So you'll take Luck. I'll take Cam.
All right.
We don't have to snake it because this is just.
Yeah, it's just take too long. I'd go Stafford 2.
All right, and I will take Joe Burrow.
I would then take Palmer. I take Carson Palmer.
Okay. I will take Eli,
Vic.
and I will now take first non-quarterback. I'll take Myles Garrett.
I got to get down in this list a little bit.
Again, they have Trevor Lawrence at number 20, if anyone's interested.
Oh God, that's right. I would have Lawrence then. Lawrence. I forget he's down there. That's so ridiculous. Lawrence.
It's just one good year is the only issue, but yeah,
Right,
I
but
hear
like,
you.
come on.
I hear you.
Forecast a little bit, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, I would have taken him. I took Eli over him because Eli won 2 Super Bowls, and you know you can win a Super Bowl with Eli. You've seen it. You've seen it, and you've seen it.
Goff?
I mean,
Well, now you're starting to get it. Yeah.
Kyler?
Kyler should be off. I mean, I don't think that's all on him. Some of it is, but like you've seen him be almost unstoppable at times too.
Oh,
Like,
we've
the
seen it.
proof of him is
he's not going to be in my franchise, so I'll take
Winston?
I'll take Mario Williams.
Mario Williams.
All pro, multiple-time Pro Bowler.
I'll go Jake Long.
Jake Long.
Sam Bradford's still out there.
All right, fine. I'll take Kyler.
I did not know Eric Fisher was the number 1 overall.
That was a rough year.
Yes, 13.
I got Goff. I'll take Goff.
You got Goff. I'll take Alex Smith.
Bradford.
Oh man. And now at this point, now I feel like it's
Now it starts to get slippery.
now it's not great. Like
Jameis Clowney?
Bradford had a couple of heater seasons though. He had so many injuries.
yeah. I'd probably take at this point. I'd probably take Clowney. Clowney still had some very good years.
Yeah. I mean, now you're in the. Now you
Now
can
we're
just
in the
fill them
weeds.
in. It's
Yeah,
just
so who
nonsense.
cares? All right,
Doesn't
so
really
that's our
matter.
first. That's the first 16.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's pretty remarkable how many.
It's pretty good through 10.
Yeah, it's really good. Like a lot of those guys were dudes.
But that's less than 50%.
It's true. It's nature versus nurture, Lodge. You got to have both. It's not just one, you know. It really is.
When
like
you
these
say
spots.
Lodge, who are you referring to?
The Commerce Secretary. It's Walken in Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers. Lodge,
Nature versus
Lodge.
nurture, Lodge.
I love
Nature always wins.
He would be my favorite Lodge. Then my second favorite would be, wasn't it Roger Lodge?
Raj Lodge, man. That guy had a nice spirit to him. I like that guy. He did.
What was that show? It was a
Talk
dating
Soup,
show.
wasn't it, or
no, it was
something?
a dating show.
Roger Lodge.
And it was the one where they would like fall and then like bubbles would pop.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was a great one.
That was good. Yeah. Old Raj Lodge.
Yeah, Roger Lodge. Here we go.
There you go. All right, we'll hit you figure that out. We'll get to the categories.
Blind Date.
Oh, yeah, Blind
Date.
Yeah,
It was, what a show that was.
It was good, yeah.
Great show.
Cincinnati Bengals, as we continue our tour, they are picking at 28 overall. Jay Morrison will join us on it in about 15 minutes. Just the Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey, my friends, renew your home for the last time with Renew Home Exteriors Siding and Roofing Products. Bo here, of course, for Renew Home Exteriors. Don't spend all day with high-pressure sales guys. The team at Renew won't waste your day with hours of negotiating. Renew offers an upfront, fair price to make your project easy. This month, take advantage of pre-pandemic pricing plus no interest or payments for 24 months. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products, superior service. Visit RenewEstimate.com. The Cincinnati Bengals, the apple of our eye today, my friend, as we continue our tour around the National Football League this offseason, heading into the draft, which starts tomorrow. The Bengals are coming off of 2 straight seasons of, this is a golden era to be a Bengals fan. They've got
great time.
Every box is checked. It's interesting. It's not even just on the field with Burrow and all of that, but the little things fans have always wanted, the white Bengal helmet, they've wanted that forever. The Ring of Honor, they've got that done. So they're doing a lot to keep their fan. They're doing it indoor.
Yep.
So all these things are happening down there for them. All right, let's hit the categories on the Bengals, and we'll get some perspective with Jay Morrison in just a couple of minutes. Uniforms, keep them, change them. If change, what variation?
They're great. I love what they've done with the new uniforms, and I love that white out with the white helmet.
Yeah.
I love that. I think they're great uniforms, beautiful. I like them. Classic Cincinnati Bengals. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, they're. Sometimes you look at that stripe and that striped helmet, and I don't know if I'm crazy about it, but it's just so what they are and what they've been for our whole lives. And it's such a unique look. Like no one else has anything quite like it. And by getting rid of the piping and all the stuff they had for so long, they now have a really clean look that really works. And I love the white one. I also think like their black is awesome too. Like their all black is really, really good looking. So yeah, it works. It all works.
I wouldn't mind them every now and then again throw in the old school helmet that just said Bengals on it.
Yeah,
because I thought it was so silly. I wouldn't mind that either.
Well, that's Paul Brown. He just basically took the Browns helmet and put Bengals on the side.
Wrote Bengals on it.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Stadium.
The worst. Probably
It's
the worst
up
in the
there.
league.
It's really
No, I
up
think
there
it's
as
the
one
worst
of.
in the league.
Yeah, I was trying to think of one worse. It's hard to find. It's not great.
Awful.
It is not the worst in the league.
What's worse?
Washington?
Okay. Worse than the AFC.
Jacksonville?
Jacksonville's cool. I think Jacksonville's cool.
I will say this: like, Cincinnati's is just concrete.
It's all it is.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Jacksonville's just got the pools.
Yeah. I
I'll
think
give
had
you
some
that.
great
From a fan
scoreboards.
experience, yeah.
Yeah. Even from a press box, the Jacksonville press box is always fine, unless it's changed
Yeah, it's okay.
and all that.
Cincinnati. We just have a giant booth in Cincinnati. Yeah, it's a pretty nice little setup.
for you guys, they took care of you guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
Road trip to Cincinnati. Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Hit up O'Malley's in the alley.
Jeff
Tell him
Ruby's.
Gibbs sent
Pick
you.
a Ruby's joint, man. They're all
Ruby's,
good.
The precinct.
Precinct's
the
great.
Precinct.
Yeah, all of them are good. You're right across the water from Kentucky. You want to go bourbon hunting, you can do it there.
Yep.
No, it's pretty good. It's not a great drive, and as someone who did a decent portion of it yesterday, it is one that is littered with Ohio's finest. So keep your speed to a minimum because they are at every single turnout. Every single one.
Why is that?
I don't know, but they're there always.
Yeah,
End
no
of the
doubt.
month.
Yep.
End of the month.
They
kids.
crush it. Absolutely crush
End
it.
of the
there.
month.
Player you want from their current roster.
Where'd you-
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Then T. Higgins.
Yeah.
And then Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
We have a quarterback, otherwise Joe
Otherwise
Burrow.
Burrow. But yes. No. You would want the two. It's amazing how they. You can't say stumbled into it because everything that they did from a draft standpoint all adds up. One benefits another, another, and another. Like it feels like it was all done in a coordinated effort. It takes so much luck to be able to land on all of that. And like T. Higgins falling to the second round for them is such a remarkable thing.
First pick of the second round, but yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
But it's like he was great at Clemson.
yeah.
Did we do must thing to do on a road trip down there? Well, we did. We gave
We
you the
did, yep.
restaurants and stuff, so you sorted
Yeah.
that out.
It's a fun little city. 10 years ago, I would not have said that. A lot has changed with how they've developed certain parts of town and that waterfront now. It's a nice little. It's a fun town.
Well, there were a lot of similarities because for the longest time they were much like us in that they were like, actually, waterfront, Who needs it?
Who needs it?
I mean, they put those stadiums on there, but they didn't do any development. So all of a sudden, they had to look across the river at Kentucky and go, oh, why are people going across there to live and to get everything that we can just do over here? And honestly, all three of the major cities in Ohio really botched the waterfront. They have. I mean, Columbus, same. I mean, they got a river running right through downtown. They've tried everything to make it click. It's just they're finally better off now than they were. But like 25 years ago, you think about how all the waterfronts were botched. It's pretty wild.
It is.
All-time favorite player?
Probably peak Ocho Cinco.
He was so much fun.
So much fun when he had like the list of the quarterbacks and or the cornerbacks and all the different
Hoff
celebrations.
Jacket, the gold jacket.
He was great.
He was so much fun.
Hushmanzada, simply for the name. Great fun.
I mean, you had him, Hushmanzada, and Chris Henry, R.I.P., gone too soon. His son, I think,
his son's a dude. He's like a receiver down there who's at Ohio State last week. Yeah, his son's and his daughter too. I think she's a basketball player.
Wow,
who could be going to Ohio State? So
I'd say Ocho Cinco. I also enjoyed John Kitna. I was always a
little John Kitna era for you.
Kitna guy. He felt like he would fight anybody on the team at any moment.
Yeah. They were pretty fun on. I mean, everybody was fun on Super Tecmo, but Ickey Woods and James Brooks.
Ickey Woods, James Brooks. I also enjoyed the Jeff Blake Moonball era. To Carl Pickens.
The Carl Pickens. Yeah, sure. That was a lot of fun. I mean, mine's Burrow, just because I've known him since he was in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
So he's a good dude. Playoff team, clearly. Contender,
yes.
Yep, absolutely. Biggest offseason addition loss. It was feeling like a long time. For a while, it felt like that you blew it, boy, this offseason. Hurst walked, Bell walked. I mean, I think they thought some of that would happen, but not all of it.
Jesse Bates. And
then all of a sudden you stumble into Orlando Brown. You go, oh, that feels like a pretty big win for them.
Yeah, I think that getting Orlando Brown's certainly the best thing that they did, no doubt. Irv Smith Jr. is a cheap little tight end who I think could help fill in, but I wouldn't be surprised if they draft a weapon tight end in the first round. That's where a lot of people seem to think that they are. I think they're probably overall a little bit worse than they were at the end of last year.
Before the draft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll see if
they have 3 corners. You know, like they have their 3 corners, but they don't have the 4th. So they really need a corner.
You need Awuzie to come back from a pretty significant injury, although he was very good earlier in the year. You need him to come back. They got the guy Cam Taylor-Britt, I want to say, they drafted in the 2nd round last year.
Yeah, and then Hilton.
And then Hilton's in the slot. Let me pull up their depth chart real fast. Their safety, they're counting on Dax Hill. I mean, they planned for it. They drafted a corner in the 2nd round last year, and they drafted a safety in the 1st round last year. Their other safety right now is Nick Scott, so their safety room is not what it was a year ago.
No.
And their depth in everywhere on the defensive backfield is non-existent, really. But they're still tough up front. Hubbard, Reeder, Hill, Hendrickson. The linebackers, they got Pratt back. They've got Logan Wilson. We'll see. Can the young guys play safety and corner the way they need them to? Because Bell and Bates were a pretty good tandem.
They were. They have a specific need in this draft, I think, to where they need their – and here's the deal, though. Like, they've hit on their picks. Other than offensive line, where they had Jonah Williams and Billy Price and Jackson Carman, outside of the offensive line where they just have a blind spot, everything else in the draft they've crushed recently.
They've done a good job. So
they really have. Like you said, they plan for things, and so they pick at 28. Like, could they trade back into the 2nd round and pick up another 2? I think that would be an interest to them. If there's somebody who wants, a Hendon Hooker sliding or something like that, that would be something where I could see them being a little bit nimble.
Who do people kind of have them?
Most people have them mocked at tight end.
Tight end, that's what.
But like Duke Tobin this week when he spoke, he's like, "Look, we're going to rank them 1 through 28, and we're just going to be honest to the board." Like their feeling is, like, I don't know, do they feel like they have to take a tight end at 28, or if a DN fell, would they take that? Like they might,
So this is kind of a roundup. So it's got running back, some defensive line play, Dalton Kincaid, and then the safety Brian Branch from Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, it's safety, it's tight end, it's corner.
Yep.
Like those are kind of the big the big need points for them. And then they'll have to restructure Mixon. That's the other part of it. They'll redo his deal because he's not.
Or draft somebody in the second
round. But he's
round.
at minicamp. Mixon's at minicamp.
Okay.
So, he's there. So that's something. We'll get some perspective on all of this from Jay Morrison of The Athletic. He joins us coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Our offseason tour continues with the visit to Cincinnati and the Bengals. And when you talk Bengals, you sure like to do it with Jay Morrison. He's, of course, with The Athletic. He joins us on the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. Jay, thanks so much for taking the time. Let's just start with kind of a state of the state where the Bengals are. Obviously working on a Burrow extension. We saw that 5th year picked up. Higgins still under contract, but probably wanting an extension there. You got the draft coming up. Lost some guys in free agency, added some guys in free agency. In terms of where they are now, right now, are they better off than they were a year ago at this time? Or are they better off than they were at the end of the season?
I think they are better than what they were a year ago, and maybe better than what they were at the end of the season, if a couple of those guys that are injured actually that are expected to come back actually do come back. The Orlando Brown signing was a huge one. They need to keep working on this offensive line, and they've put a lot of resources into it. You feel pretty good about where it's at right now. Safety is not an ideal position, losing those guys, you're right. But anytime you've got Burrow and Chase and Higgins and Boyd and right now still Mixon, they've got almost all the key pieces back except for the safeties. And they addressed that last year in the first round with Dax Hill. I think he's ready to step right in.
When you look at this team today, how do you feel like it compares to the team that finished the season last year?
Well, I mean, it's a good question because last year when they finished, their offensive line, all 5 guys started the first 15 games. And then it was one by one. It was these dominoes, just one by one. Another guy would go down each week. And by the time they got to Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, there was a lot of backups in there. So the assumption that those guys will all be back and healthy, I think that's the key element that makes them better than what they were at the end of last year. And you got to figure there's going to be at least another 1 or 2 pieces that they get in the draft this weekend that's going to play a key role this year as well.
Jay, it's interesting. Like I think we're all kind of waiting on the Burrow deal, and the whole league kind of is, and maybe Burrow and Herbert are waiting out each other on this front, and it's very little from a league standpoint out of either Cincinnati or the Burrow camp from our perspective. Is it the same down there in terms of just a negotiation that's going to get done, but it feels like there's very little news coming out of it, but then also like no panic, like it's clearly going to get done.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another example of how perfect the Bengals and Burrow are for each other because they are both very tight to the vest. There's not a lot of leaks coming out of those camps. All indications are that it is moving along. The 5th-year option was just a way. You know, the deadline's coming up Tuesday. It was kind of the Bengals saying, "Look, we're focused on the draft right now. We're going to do that as a fallback plan, and then once the draft is over, go back and start working on this extension for Burrow." There's really the bigger question is, does Logan Wilson, who was the 3rd-round pick that year with those 2, do those guys get extensions? Because these salaries keep mounting. I mean, Orlando Brown's getting $64.5 million. Trey Hendrickson is 15. He's up to 15 this year, 17.5 next year. It's going to get harder and harder to keep these guys together, and that creates hard decisions. And one of those might be letting T. Higgins go.
Which would be wild because this is all about weapons in this arm race in the AFC, and the Bengals obviously with Higgins, with Chase, with Boyd, we'll see, and Joe Mixon for now, Joe Burrow. They've got those weapons. So when you look at this draft, I've seen a lot of mocks that have them taking another weapon, a tight end for this offense. What are you kind of focusing on for the early picks here for the Bengals?
Yeah, I actually think we're going to see a heavy defensive attack in the draft from the Bengals again this year. They went defense with their first 2 picks last year. If they go defense with the first 2 this year, which I think is very much in play, it'll be the first time in franchise history they've done that. But I think they don't get to Saturday without a cornerback. And even though they have 3 starters back, that's a big position of need. They love loading up there. They love adding early round picks a year before they really need them to be big players. So I think you're going to see them take a corner. And I think a defensive lineman's coming off the board in one of those first 3 rounds. Tight end is it's an important position. They kind of took some of the urgency out of it when they signed Irv Smith Jr. and re-signed Drew Sample, but still they don't have a single tight end on the roster signed beyond this year. So that's a 3rd, 4th round definite target if they don't get one earlier. And I don't think they will. I don't think they will spend a premium pick on a non-premium position.
Do they need a starter, or are they out of this draft? Obviously you'd love one if you landed one, but do they need anybody at any position, Jay, where they step in and start? Are they still in need of that? Or are they pretty well buttoned up in terms of how that would look if they had to play the game this weekend?
Yeah, they've got the entire starting lineup set. The two safeties they lost, like I said, Dax Hill steps in there, and they signed Nick Scott from the Rams in free agency. Those are the big absences from the starting lineup last year. So what they have on the roster now, probably the starting 22 will be comprised of that. But that just adds to the flexibility they have, where they're at 28. They got to wait and see how the draft plays out anyhow, and then they really truly can go in any direction. Running back at some point you would think would be addressed with the Mixon situation, but again, that's third, fourth round at the earliest.
What do you think happens with Joe Mixon?
I think he agrees to take a pay cut, and he plays for the Bengals in 2023 at least. He's there already for voluntary workouts. I think that almost feels like it's a sign to the team where if he hasn't been asked to take a pay cut yet, he knows it's coming. He will be asked to take a pay cut. He's not going to make any decision on that until we see how the draft plays out. But there's no way they're paying him $12.8 million this year. I don't think the legal stuff has any bearing on this. It's a misdemeanor anyhow, as ugly of a look as it is to be waving a gun in traffic. That's still up to be decided in the courts. But even if he's found guilty, I don't think you'll see the Bengals part way with him. It'll be strictly a financial decision and whether he's ready or willing to take a pay cut.
Is there anything that you see when looking at this team and this roster other than injury that could derail them from once again being a favorite to come out of the AFC?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't know if as long as there's not a major injury, and there are positions where they could probably even take one of those type of hits, but they've got it all together. I mean, we talk all the time about, quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, the guys like Ja'Marr Chase get better as they get into year 2 and year 3. Well, coaching staffs do that too. And this coaching staff, the only staff in the league that's had offense coordinator, defense coordinator, head coach together for going on 5 years now. They've really grown as a staff. All the assistants have been in place for multiple years. So I just see it feels like this team is still ascending, and back-to-back AFC championship games, there's not much farther you can ascend to. It feels like the window is this year, next year. They need to get one of those Lombardi trophies at Paycor Stadium.
Yeah, and it's the dangest thing too, because the AFC is just so brutal and made more brutal by Aaron Rodgers officially in the AFC now. And the Bengals are. It feels like they're hitting on everything. I know that they're very good on the social media side of things, Jay, and I just saw here in the last hour they tweeted out a picture of T. Higgins at workouts. So everything looks kumbaya on that front too, right?
Yeah. It was mentioned to us that because we said nobody saw T on the first day the locker room was open, and then he showed up the next day, and he's not trying to be around when the media is being around. So we kind of suggested maybe you because so many people were freaking out that he wasn't there, and it's like maybe you guys put out a picture of T working out and settle down the savages, and they listened to us and did it. So it is a good sign. Anytime you got a guy that's looking for an extension and it's dragging on and it's not happening. You see guys not show up for the voluntary stuff for lesser things.
Yeah.
So I think it is a great sign that Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, we've seen just about everybody except Ja'Marr Chase, and we know he's working out doing his own thing, not here. So it's a good sign to have the band back together, so to speak.
It's interesting because it's obviously all going very, very well on the field, but off there's been big changes in that organization as well. Whether it's the little things like fan base always wanted the white Bengal tiger and getting an indoor, all of those type of things that are happening down there. Who's the catalyst for that with an ownership that's been in a family for as long as that one has? What's been the game changer where all that's been concerned?
Yeah, her name's Elizabeth Blackburn. She's Mike Brown's granddaughter. Her sister Carolyn too has taken on a bigger role with the team. But I remember when Elizabeth came on, they hired her as the I can't remember, director, president of fan engagement.
Okay.
And they for so long fans just never felt appreciated or valued. It was like they take our money and they don't listen. They've been clamoring for a Ring of Honor. They give that to them. The White Tiger, the social media engagement. And the whole game day experience. They put so much into the relationship with the fans. And of course, winning is driving most of this. But the fans feel like they're not just watching a great team, like they're a part of something that's growing and building and exciting for the city. And I think they've done a great job of that. Elizabeth Blackburn, when they first hired her, the first time we talked to Mike Brown, the team owner, after that, we were asking about the Ring of Honor, and he said, I don't know, I think Elizabeth might be the one to get it done. She's the only one that's not afraid of me. So that's what it was with all the other people in the organization family. They just bowed to Mike, and he never wanted to single out people. The Ring of Honor was a big thing for the fans, and then Elizabeth comes in, convinces them to do it, and it's just been one thing after another ever since that first moment.
That being said, we're talking right now. There's been talk about what the Browns are going to do with their stadium. Is there any talk about putting a state-of-the-art facility down there for this Bengals team? I feel like if there was ever a time to do it, it would be now.
Yeah, well, if there is talk, it's not coming from inside the Bengals organization. We out in Phoenix at the owners' meetings, we asked Katie Blackburn, who's the executive vice president of the team, and Mike Brown's daughter, ask about that. And she said they think they have a perfectly fine stadium, and they want to take the Baltimore approach where you just keep putting money into it and improving the existing structure. And, they really got one over on the taxpayers when they built that stadium. I think they realized that. I think that they're appreciative of the fans sticking with them through the lean years. So I think you're going to see a much different situation here where the money's going to be about improvements, not a brand new stadium. And I think you're going to see the Bengals chip in more than what we've seen them do in the past.
Great stuff, Jay. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, that's Jay Morrison with The Athletic on the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. It's a tricky one to upgrade that operation, that stadium operation.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, that was a tough. Look at, First Energy, or
That's
I guess
another
Cleveland
one.
Browns Stadium.
Put a
now.
dome
like
on
it's, yeah, like there's. You saw. This leads us to you saw what happened yesterday down in Nashville. $1.2 billion. It was $500 from the state, $750 in bond from the city, or I could have those inverted. But $1.2 billion public, and then another
it's like
billion.
a hotel tax.
Yeah, it's going to be another. Well, yeah, another billion is going to go for the city part of it.
Yeah.
Another billion is going to come out of the former Adams. Now I think Shrunk family name. They're going to pay the other billion of it for a $2.1 billion roof stadium in Nashville. It's a game changer.
And look how quickly that went through.
Oh, and it was a 26-12 vote.
Yeah.
The in terms of the Nashville money and then the state money that was there you think about this from Nashville's perspective, which is one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and honestly might be the point where there's not much else for it to grow, just because it's in the hills and it's just tough. There's not a lot of way to go. But Nashville will have Super Bowls. Nashville will have college football national championship games. It will have the SEC title game. If the University of Tennessee plays in a college football playoff game, it will do so in Nashville. It will get the Final Four. It will get WrestleMania. It will get all of those things to a city that already has so many advantages.
And they have. I was going to say they have outdoor festivals at that stadium every
all
weekend.
The time.
Yeah.
All
well,
now that's going to be.
Now you're doing that.
Yeah.
So that thing looks amazing.
Amazing
that they did.
That's that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's absolutely getting it done right. You all right there?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, very good.
I was just looking around.
All right, very good.
Dialed in.
So much more.
I
to
was
come.
dialed in.
You listen to Cleveland Browns
Great
Daily,
performance
brought
in
to you
that
by
segment.
Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. I know you had something you wanted to get to.
I did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me when Aaron Rodgers wants to be gracious and affable and charming that he can be. And I think he went into this press conference in New York with a decided note to not be standoffish or off-putting, and I think try to ingratiate himself to the New York media early. And I think, by all accounts, it was a rousing success.
We're a pretty simple group, right?
Us humans?
Yeah.
Sure.
Be nice, will be reciprocated.
Kindness is free, brother.
And the other part of it is, if you're in his position, that's why there's been, people that I've covered, people that have come through here, people at other places, where you just go, man, it feels like you're making this far more difficult than it needs to be. That there was a path here where it's so much easier to just do it the nice way.
Cool. Yeah.
Just be cool. It makes things so much more difficult when you go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't understand how some athletes choose this.
They choose violence.
They choose violence, and it's just not worth it, man. And when you juxtapose choosing a tougher path with poor play, then it's just pure toxicity. If you combine greatness with kindness, well, then you get all of it.
And you're the most loved guy. And I do think it's a savvy move that he's going to wear 8 and not 12. Broadway Joe said he could wear 12, and he said, nah, that's Broadway Joe to me.
Yeah. Look, they don't have a whole lot of quarterback lineage at that operation. So they've –
No,
No,
not.
It's a shame they not wearing those uniforms, the Broadway Joe.
They should wear them this year for a one-off.
They're all locked into the black or whatever.
I know. I do like the blacks, but nonetheless, it's not a Jets uniform.
Mm-mm.
I saw something that if they scored
2 minutes.
exactly 24 points in every game last year, the Jets would have been 14-3.
Well, they were 7-4 before losing their last 6.
Yeah.
With quarterbacks who threw for about 57%.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's that look like? And by the way, quarterbacks who do not have his arm talent. And so now.
And they're going to have Wilson, Corey Davis, Lazard, McCole Hardman.
Right. Yeah. Brees Hall's back.
If they drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba, it would feel like overkill. But weapons.
No light.
Didn't he bring over one or two of his cronies?
Lazard.
Wasn't like one of some of the old school guys
too? Like, I mean,
he wants, but
I think Cobb wants to go there too.
Well, why wouldn't he? But
yeah, it's going to be they're really good. Sucks. They're really good.
Yeah.
1 minute.
They really are.
Do you like what I did there? Are you pleased with that?
Yeah, it was nice.
Well, thank you.
It's kind of like though, like when my kid says, "Are you glad that I picked up the towels in my bathroom?"
No, that's the job. My job. Yeah.
That's the job.
I know, but I saw you had when you said you had something you want to talk about. Yeah. You did give me a devilish smile, which was good.
I knew you'd have something.
Of course, come on,
Big B,
ready. Huge
you'd
B.
Be ready.
Talk about a million things.
We got draft is tomorrow. We will be back to do so. The next level is next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.